I've had my company for, I think this is our 19th year in business. We started in 2005 officially. We was actually doing a little bit of work beforehand, but got our actual business license and registration, that sort of thing, filed in 2005, and just been really pushing along. And I knew, interestingly, when I started out that I didn't have all the experience in the world. I was savvy enough, I think. This is almost 20 years ago, so I was early 30s. So I was savvy enough to understand how businesses work. And it wasn't my first business. I had a restaurant, I had a catering company, I had other businesses, when I was younger. But this was a different ball of wax because what my passion was for and is for is to help companies build great companies around their products and services, essentially. I saw an issue where people were going into business and they didn't fully understand business operations, all those parts and pieces that go into running a company. And it was interesting because I get into this business and I'm out selling and I'm doing work and that sort of thing, and it didn't dawn on me, and I think this happens to a lot of people, but it didn't dawn on me that I didn't have a key component that was needed in the business. Now, don't get me wrong. When I started out, I went out and I was doing a lot of networking and having conversations with people and, trying to get business that way. But the challenge that I faced was that it was taking me away from being able to do the work. I was the only person in the company at the time. And so, I would go to a networking event and then we'd go and have coffee with somebody and, have this relationship and, try to build something from it. And I wasn't closing business, and I wasn't closing enough business to really sustain myself. Unfortunately, it was like, it was we were rolling into 2006, and then, that whole real estate collapse happened and there was like nothing coming in. I had, one or two clients that sustained us, over that time period, but it definitely wasn't a good time. And I went back and I got my MBA, and the MBA program was really validating it in a lot of ways for some of the work that I was doing, but I certainly needed to apply that. And I still had the same issue. Still needed to have a business development operation that would be able to help drive business into the company, and I had to be able to do something that was sustainable. It couldn't be a situation where we do like feast to famine, where we go out, we get business, we work really, really hard to get business, and then we work really, really hard to deliver the work, and then we work really, really hard to get more business, et cetera, et cetera. That's just not a sustainable model. It's not something that says, okay, you know what, I can bring in more people, and I know that I'll be able to afford those people. And so when I think back about the biggest mistakes that I made, and this is something I would recommend to anybody else, is, really looking at, not just having a product, or a service, and not just knowing who your market is, but also how to make that connection, how to bring them together. It's like, how do we go out and, actually get those people that we truly want to serve and get them to do business with us, get them to understand what it is that we offer, how we can make their lives better, how we can, solve whatever issue they're having, and then exchange, those goods or those services for, money that, actually absolutely makes sense. I think that, a lot of times technical entrepreneurs, technical founders in particular, they're kind of like starving artists. They're really, really good, at what they do, but they're not necessarily as good at business and all the parts and pieces that make a business successful. A lot of times they're leading with their heart, rather than their head, and they're building companies that they don't necessarily want to lead, but they are the best person to be leading those companies at that time. Doesn't say that, at some point down the road that might change, but this is something that, as owners, as founders, as technical founders in particular, we have to take into consideration.